I went out to buy some fruits, and I got to know from somebody that वहाँ पे रेड पड़ती है. Physical abuses, emotional abuses for dowry, money for daily things, random things, and that hit me hard and shattered me. I was left all alone in that kind of state of mind.
Welcome to another episode of Be Your Own Boss. Tough times don't last, tough people do. Robert Schuller said that. Today, we're going to meet one such tough girl, a very strong girl. Despite the situations, difficult situations that most of us can barely even imagine ourselves in, she lived through those and she came out victorious. Not just that, she is planning to help others in a big way. Our guest this week is Neha Sahu, the author of One Vulnerable Daughter. Neha is also a freelance designer, an artist, and a copywriter. So, what's her story? What challenges did she face, and how is she planning to help others? Let's hear from Neha. Neha, thank you so much for taking our time and joining us here on the Be Your Own Boss podcast. Welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here with you today, and I'm very excited for this show.
Same
Thank
here,
you
Neha.
so much for inviting me here.
So, Neha, let's start with your journey. Like,
Mhm.
you know how it goes on this show. Let's start with your journey right from your childhood. So, tell us about your parents, your siblings, and the environment at home. Where were you born and things like that?
So, I'll be talking from a perspective of how I have seen myself as a kid growing up into the person today what I am. So, as a kid, I think I've belonged to Dhanbad, a small city from Jharkhand, which is also known as the coal capital of India. And the movie, Wasapur, it belongs to Dhanbad. So yeah, my father is a professor, and my mom is housewife, and I have grown up into a very middle class culture and surroundings. So it was a completely. My mom is a housewife. My father is a bread earner, and I have a younger brother and me. And the grown up, how the girl child is being treated in our culture society, and how a woman is being treated by her husband or her in-law. So I have seen everything and grown up in such a surrounding, and which always gave me a question. Since the time I remember as a girl child, I used to ask myself that why women have such a life, like my mom, my aunts, my uh, friend's mom, or anyone around, whosoever I see. And I had no answers. And as I grew up, I started seeing my sisters getting married, and people are coming to look at them. They asked to show their hands and legs, ask them to walk, sing. And I used to question, what are these? And I started questioning the life I am living into. And I started looking out for ways to move out of this entire system of how a woman should live. So I remember I was in 11th class, and I academically I have been a very poor student. Since my father was a professor, he asked me to, take science, and I was always inclined towards art. But he was like, "Artist banogi, jhola leke ghumogi, ab yahi karna hai." So I had to take science, and I failed throughout the 2 years in entirely five subjects, including physical education. I couldn't study ever, and but I had this pressure of पहली लड़की होगी जो फेल करेगी, लोग क्या कहेंगे. So within 2 months, I just went through everything, studied enough to pass, and I passed. I got 68% and I passed. But the question was, now what? because I have only one option to get into graduation and uh, finish it as my father asked into his guidance in his college, and get married and have kids. So is this it? And I started looking for ways. I am not good into studies. What would I do? How to move out of this place? I tried entrance exams, but I scored negative in all of them: medical and nursing, lab assistant, everything. But I couldn't clear any of them. And then I got to know about NIFT. NIFT is what a design institute. I only had this idea, but I had no knowledge. But a lot of struggles happened. My father was very anti of it. Like, uh, he asked about निफ्ट व्हाट इज इट एंड पीपल सेड अपनी बेटी को मत भेजिए वो हाथ से निकल जाएगी and he was very anti of it. I had to go through a lot of struggle. It's like another story, long story, but I cleared it somehow and
Mm.
left that city and moved to Delhi. So for my for designing course, and that was my first victory when I could break but that system of stay there, get married, and for die over there in those silent life, which no one talks about. So
Yeah.
I did my graduation, and then I explored my life to the fullest. I have always lived in the moments and the circumstances you get to see, of course. So I got married in 2017 after I graduated in 2012. And 4 years after for that, I met a guy and got married. Although my parents didn't allow, but I was kind of a rebel, so nobody could stop me. And it was a proper social marriage with both the families. But the reality struck when uh, all those things which I had seen in my childhood happening to my mom or anyone around, it started happening to me. Those domestic abuses, those uh, physical abuses, emotional abuses for dowry, money for daily things, random things, and that hit me hard and shattered me. It was like I was before I got married in 2017. I was earning quite well. I was an independent girl and educated girl, and earning enough to support herself in a metropolitan city. I was in Mumbai that time, working with Ananya Birla. But since I was about to get married, I decided to leave the job to enjoy that, married phase. But that was my biggest mistake. So what happened was that after I got married, I had no source of income, and the guy happens to be very much changed upside down since the day we got married, as if he was only looking forward to the money I was earning, or if my father is a professor, so he would offer some good dowry, which apparently didn't as per him. But all the expenses, the entire marriage expense was uh, look after my father. So, and then it was for just the beginning of the another life. This is the life till now which I have lived. After my graduation, I was a free bird, lived my life on my own terms. But now I am under the cage of same cage in which my mom has lived, and it was a low phase. I started falling into depression, anxiety, a lot of it. And since it was a love marriage of my decision, my parents didn't listen to anything. They were like, it was your choice now, whatever
So they
other
didn't support
circumstances.
you.
Yeah, they
Mm.
didn't support. So it was only for 2 months of the marriage, and everything was happening so much. And for that, I had to ask. for help to my parents, but initially they didn't. After 4 months, they were asked to come to Delhi. At that time, I was in Noida, so my parents came over, and then yeah, so they asked me to, adjust because it's your home. This is your own home. It's your responsibility to uh, handle your husband or change your husband. And I was like, I had no answer and no question to them. I was just listening, and at that time everything was happening, and my father got a stroke. So that was again a very difficult thing to handle, but uh, it got under control in few hours. And but then I had literally couldn't say anything. And so it was the fourth month I tried, fifth month, sixth month, and literally I started feeling like I would jump out of here, out of the washroom window. I used to stand there and think that I wish I could jump. And it, it started hitting me very hard. Anxiety attacks were very difficult, and those people were like, अब तो ये ड्रामा करेगी और कुछ देर बेहोश हो जाएगी, फिर उनका यही रिएक्शन होता था. And I was left all alone in that kind of state of mind. And no friends, no
Mm.
family. I tried to reach out to friends of mine who used to live over there in Delhi, and the response was like, "It's your personal matter. You deal with it." So I was helpless over there. So I decided to, try to escape from this place, because if I will stay here, I would either commit suicide or do something.
Yeah.
So I had to leave, and I started making up this story that Delhi, may I am unable to find any job. Initially, I was in Mumbai, so I want to go back to Mumbai for some time, meet my friends, and look for some jobs. And they couldn't say no to this, because, of course, I'm going to earn. So I just packed my few clothes and just left on just right after 6 months. I had given myself a deadline of 6 months, and the day 6 months got over, the next day I flew back to Mumbai.
So when you came to Mumbai, you didn't have a plan of like where in Mumbai you're gonna go, or did you have that? Did you have a clear idea of what you're gonna do, or it was like just let me escape from here, let me go to Mumbai and find something?
Yes, it was like that. Let me escape from there, go to Mumbai and find something. In Mumbai, I had a college friend who was living here. She used to be my hostel mate too. So with her, I asked her that if I can stay with you for a week. I'm coming to Mumbai, and she was like, "Okay, come." But I didn't know that. And she used to stay with her parents, mom and dad. I didn't know that her father is a cancer patient and in a very critical stage. So in that flat, I went and saw everything, the situation. I was like, she's in a worse condition than mine. And I just stayed over there for some time, a week with her, and like we were support to each other. And after a week, her dad passed away. And so now everybody would come to her place, and I have to leave now. So I had to search for some accommodation for me. I had some uh, 2-3 lakh rupees in my account, and I don't know how long I'll have to stay here. Where will I stay here? And in city like Mumbai, 3 lakhs around. How long will you survive with it? And
And did you
uncertainty.
find a job yet at that time? Not.
No, I had not. So I had the first problem was to look for an accommodation. So I initially I didn't have anything, so I went to a hotel where I stayed in the very first time when I came here to interview with Ananya Birla.
Hmm.
So I remember for that hotel, I went there and stayed for like 15 days. because I was in a state of mind who didn't want to do anything, neither get up from the bed. I was into that room of that hotel for 15 days, and one day I went out to buy some fruits, and I got to know from somebody that वहाँ पे रेड पड़ती है, so you should leave, ऐसा मुझे किसी ने बोला. And then I was like started finding for a broker कि मुझे कोई पीजी दिला दो, because I can't stay here for any long. And all I did in that hotel is stand over the window and watch the Matunga station, railway station के बिल्कुल opposite में था वो window. And I
Mm.
used to stand there from morning, afternoon, night, throughout the night. I couldn't sleep at that time. And that was my state of mind, where I'm not sleeping, I'm not doing anything, I'm just standing there.
Just
So and then,
staring out of
yeah,
the
just
window.
staring the world, passing by people, and then imagining that I wish somebody would come for me. There are so many people around, going, coming, going, coming. I wish somebody would come for me. This was my thoughts, that looking outside the window. So,
Yeah.
and then I had to leave that place. I had to find a PG now. And you know, finding a place in Mumbai is so difficult. Even to have a PG, you need to find a lot of places who are ready to forgive you right now. It was difficult, so I wasn't getting anything. And the broker, he asked me कि अभी के लिए एक option है, that you we have a room in boys PG, you will get a separate room, but it's a boys PG, are you okay with it? Then I had no choice, and I said okay. So I stayed over there for 3 months with all those boys around, sharing washroom. And still I am looking for jobs. My state of mind is very poor, I'm not sleeping. It's been for 2 months I haven't slept. I remember I was only able to sleep for half an hour, or at max 1 hour. I started feeling like a zombie. And in for that state of mind, I'm looking for jobs or freelance projects. Luckily I found one, but since I wasn't able to work at all, they fired me in like 1.5 months. So now it's 4 months. I have nothing. The the 1.5 month ki salary I had, which was 80,000, and so usse I can survive another 1 month or 1.5 month. You say the PG rent was 25,000. So I am still looking for jobs, still in a very bad anxiety, depression, can't sleep. It was
So
in loop.
things are
And
getting worse and worse, right? Your situation was
yes,
getting worse and worse as it.
very bad.
So how did things turn around from, because the way it is going, like right from the domestic violence and the abuse that you had back in Delhi, to how you came to Mumbai, and still you're still struggling, and you're still mentally
Yeah.
being tortured, kind of. So how did the situation turn around?
So, but during those times, I started writing. So writing, to went out, I started writing, and still writing helped me, but still I couldn't sleep. So I went to a psychiatrist one fine day, and he gave me medicines to sleep. So for that day, I had that pill and slept for 7 hours. The next day, I woke up into a transformed person. I was like I had enough. I remember a week before I had asked this question to myself, that will I be alive, or I am just going to be finished. And after a week, I was like, no matter what, I will make my way, I will find my opportunities, and I will find my life back, because I'm not going to give up. And since that day, I started writing and finding jobs. I remember in a day I used to send around 50 applications, and it went for 4 or 5 months. So the last month, when I had like 25,000 left in my account, and 20 days left in the month. So at the end of the month, I got this call from Raymond's that you have been selected as an assistant designer. So, but I was very happy, of course. But the thing was, they were offering me a very low position and a salary which I used to earn 5 years before. So,
Mhm.
but at that time, that was the only option. So I chose it and moved to Thane from Racecourse. I used to live in Racecourse that time. And from that place, I started healing and growing. And when my parents saw that I am being capable of sustain myself all by myself, they started getting in touch. And gradually, our relations came back to normal.
Yeah.
So from there, I started completely as a fresher. I went with this state of mind that I'm starting my life again. And after 3 years of writing, working, and everything, I published my book in 2021. And in 2022, I registered my NGO, which is Her World Welfare Foundation, to support the victims of domestic violence.
Wow.
So,
So you have seen the dark side of the Indian society and the prejudice and the injustice that happens to women there. You've seen the domestic violence. You've seen all those things, and when you looks like your turning point was the Raymond's job. Once you got the Raymond's job, although it was a low salary, it was something that was kind of taking you 5 years back. But still, considering the current situation, you took that. So looks like when that turnaround happened, and when you moved to Thane, and you started writing, so you were already writing earlier, right? So is this what you compiled, or did you start writing fresh? And because
no,
I want
this
to
is
come.
what I compiled.
This is what you compiled. Okay. So, and you compiled this into the book that you published, the
Yeah.
One Vulnerable Dot, which is which is so successful. So, and tell us about that journey of, like, how do you, you know, uh, take all your pain and put it onto paper. You compile it into a book. From, can you talk us through that process of from the writing to receiving
Definitely.
the card from that girl in Delhi that you told me about?
Yes, definitely. Because this writing journey is very exciting to me because was not a writer. I never thought to be an author or publishing something. Writing is something that happened to me. And while I was exploring, while I was in the lowest of my times, I was looking for some hope to live. And writing was uh, that hope, that one support which helped me to come over. And why I wanted to publish it, because I have seen the silence all around which no one talks about. And but this book was the voice for those silent voices. And the poems which I have written, if you will read one poem, you can relate with yourself. And when you will read the entire book, you will understand it's a story which is narrated in the poetries. The poetries speak mostly about the pain a woman go through in her life, which is like daily things which we ignore, but which are very important, and deep things, emotions, feelings. And so the book is divided into three parts as mine: the falling, the rising, and the healing. So when you fall, you get up, you rise. And when you walk again, while walking, you heal. So this is your healing journey. And so all the journeys are compiled together and
Mm.
being published as a book. So the book received a lot of love, and people called it like the most unique poetry book, because it has got all the black pages. And it's first of its kind poetry book. In all the black pages, white fonts, and real life pictures, paintings to support the poetry, so that people get the essence of it, and go deeper from where the author has written.
It's time for a short break here. We'll continue this conversation right after this break. Stay tuned.
Yeah, and I have read the book, and it's beautiful. The like you said, it is very artistically done, and there are pictures in it which kind of, it relates. Then you're able to relate to that, and it has some of your paintings as well, as a picture of your painting as well in that, right?
Yes, true.
So apart from writing, you also paint. So
Yes.
we'll talk about the painting part and the freelancing that you do. But for the book here, okay. So and I'm asking this on behalf of the listeners, the audience, those who like to write, okay, but are not sure how to go about publishing a book. So you had this collection of what you had written. So how did you transform that into the physical book that was there? The selecting the images, and did you approach to a publisher? Did you have to pay them? What was so talk us through that process, please.
Okay. So, while writing, if you're writing for yourself, you need not to think anything. You just write free flow. But when you are writing for people, when you are compiling something for people to read, like a book, initially you need not think about anything. Just write whatever you want to write, and later on, all the beautification, all those do's and don'ts comes when your initial draft is ready, and the editing and everything. However, so you can go through your favorite authors to look how is what their writing styles, and the interior of the book, how and look for something, what kind of interior you would like to give to your content, and related to that, you look to publishers. But as per my experience, I would suggest nowadays we have an amazing platform of self-publishing. I am coming from my experience. I had a publisher, and I paid a bomb amount to get my book published. But what happened is that the publisher are just there to publish your book, get that ISBN number, and ready to print. But that's it. But they will not market your book, but they will not promote the author. All they are focused into promoting their publishing house. The amount you pay to the publisher, you can spend the amount in marketing and promoting yourself and your book. A writer has to have a good marketing person. So yeah, but this is the one thing which I learned in my journey, and I would always suggest this to people, that do not spend money in publishing, but do a lot of research into marketing. But nowadays, there are a lot of podcast videos, tutorials, a lot of things to learn from online, and prepare your market plan, marketing plan. How will you pitch people? How will you collaborate with people? How will you review? How will you get reviews for your book, and start pitching to people and connecting with the
Yeah.
influencers, book clubs.
So,
Uh,
so Neha,
yeah.
in your case, how did you do it? Like, you went to a publisher first. You said you went to a publisher, and that did
Okay.
not work, and you self
Mm,
published. Tell us about that,
Mine
please.
was a very different case because it was a all black book, and I was a newbie into this book industry. I have no idea, no uh, knowledge about how this all works. I only had this book design, and I had to print it in black. That's all I knew. I started looking for publisher, and at that time, right now also is a well-known publisher in India, and I started looking for them, pitching them, and they came to me with a budget of 1.6 lakhs, only to publish, and the package included for marketing and those things, a lot of things which are useless but good to show. So I, for being a newbie, I was like, okay, fine, I will go with them. At least they will publish my book. And later on, after half of the editing was done, confirmed about the color, and I was like, no, it has to be black. White is not accepted. So they were like, we can't print in black. uh, I was like, I have to print in black. I cannot go for white. So they were like, the MRP would go 1400 rupees if you will print in black. Because all black pages with the pictures, because it cannot be printed in black and white, it has to be all gradations and everything. The- Even though if it's printed in black and white, the picture has to be printed in shades and
Yeah.
gradation. So it will only go for color print, and it will cost you 1400. And I was like, being a debut author, I cannot have this MRP. No one will read. Nobody know me. Why would they spend 1400 rupees? So uh, I said no to the publisher, and I started looking for more publisher. I found one publisher. He got agreed, and we cracked an MRP of 325 rupees with him. But the quality was little poor. I was like, with but time we will improve the quality. Let's publish it. Initially, we got a bunch of 100 copies, and it was good enough to go. So we published it and started looking for good printers though. Uh, the book was rolling out good. In the launched event, only 50 copies were gone. We were left with only 50 copies. After the 50 copies were gone, the uh, bad quality books started coming in, and people started sending me screenshots and videos. See the stripe comings. See, this looks like Xerox paper, and 4 or 5 people send me the images, and I was like, this is really bad. It's for good for the book, neither for my image. And I
Hmm.
had to break the contract with the publisher, because publisher said I can't do it. I am not getting any printer, and all the printers are saying no. To this MRP, the cost to keep the MRP at 325. At least you need to have a cost of 200 rupees printing cost at max. Usually,
Yeah.
what happens is, like, if you have a MRP of 325, the printing cost is 35, 40, or 50, at max 80 rupees. And after it, all these marketing costs, the publisher commission, everything, and leftover will go to author royalty, which is like 45, 50 rupees. With me, I was getting zero, because the printing cost was 200 rupees, and उसके बाद जो बचा वो publisher ने ले लिया. So I was not aiming to earn anything, although, but I wanted the quality to be good. I broke the contract with publisher, and I have nothing, no publisher, no printer. I started looking for printers now. From each and every state in the country, I have spoke to printers and asked for R&D and samples. Half of them said no to this the printing cost. The minimum of the costing which I got was 500 rupees per book. Now you see, 500 rupees printing cost, the MRP, I don't know. So I was
Yeah.
still trying. Luckily, after 4 months of searching, I got a printer in Delhi who printed it at the desired cost. He cracked it, and I again came into the MRP of 325, and I republished it as a self-publishing platform, and I got everything done, and then yeah, like
Wow. What does it mean to self-publish a book?
over here, Amazon has this option of uh, publishing your book for KDP, okay? Or you can also, you need to, once your book is ready, everything is ready, you need to apply for an ISBN. So ISBN is the unique number which is given to every book published. So
Okay.
once they verify everything, it's Raja Ram Mohan Roy agency something. It's a government agency which provides the ISBN numbers. So you need to apply for it. They need to approve it. Once you have the ISBN number, you can go to KDP to self-publish your book. Once it's published in KDP, you will have an option of either create a paperback from KDP itself, or if you have the printed copies, you can list it as a new product on Amazon seller central.
Okay. And what's KDP, Neha? Sorry.
KDP is Kindle digital publishing, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it is all, it's part of Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay. So, apart from writing books, you have also, I mean, apart from writing the, One Vulnerable Dot, you were also involved in painting and other artwork apart from your job, right? So, because you were still working at that time. And so, tell us about that journey, like when you started painting and how did you transform your hobby into a profession?
Okay. So painting is also something which happened to me. I have a habit of exploring a lot in my daily life, and in 2014 I was again into a very low phase because of everything, the job I was trying to start a startup, a women community, and personal relations. I was into kind of a depression mode where I thought, to express, I needed to take it out, and I started painting. It was my first canvas painting which I did. I have not learned it from anywhere. And that first painting which I did, after that I felt like I have lost 2 kgs weight. It was so relaxing, so relieving. And since that day I started painting as expression. To express myself, I always used to paint, and in canvas acrylic colors. So the painting, it was like occasional thing. But in COVID, I always had people who used to ask me that you should commercialize your painting, but I was like, no, it's an art. I don't want to earn money with it, because it's not intended to earn money. It's like something I would like to keep with myself. But in COVID, when we were going through a very economic crisis, I was in a 50% salary, which was, and anyways, my salary was so less. On top of it, 50%, and it was very difficult. What to do? How to earn? I had to pay rent and my own food expenses. So I one day I made a painting and put it on Instagram that it's ready to sell. And 2 days later, a girl texted me, hey, is it available? I want to buy it. And she got it for 15,000. So that was my first day which I sold, and I felt so, accomplished. Like, yes, I made 15,000 from my paintings, and that encouraged me to do more. Now what? Now I started approaching people to make portraits. So
Hmm.
a friend of mine, she got a portrait made, and then one, and then one, and then you are also one of them, for whom I think yours was the biggest painting I have made in a week's time, and it was also very challenging, but
Time
uh,
was short, and for the audience and those of you who know me, and if you've been to my place, if you've seen this big painting over my dining table, this is made by Neha, and it looks like, oh, that's a beautiful picture. Then when people come closer and they say it's not a picture, it's a painting, oh my god. So it's so well done.
yeah, I mean, and I am a kind of person who would give all her heart and 100% to make it look 100%. Until unless I am satisfied, I won't give it to you. So I had to be satisfied with the work, and it was a very dedicated piece of art that I made. Uh, And
That's
I
beautiful.
made
Thank you
it
for
for
making
you.
it.
It was really a pleasure. So this was the painting journey that I started, and right now also at times I get orders, but I have stopped taking orders because it takes a lot of time and effort, to create it, and a lot of things are going right now.
So looks like apart from the job, okay, you had the writing gig, which
Yeah.
where you published your book and started making some money out of it. The painting was there, and then you transitioned into. So talk us through that process now. How you transitioned from being an employee to an entrepreneur and a solopreneur that you are today.
So I have always used to think that I have to do something sustainable, which I can sustain throughout my life at the age of 50 or 60. Because at this 9 to 5, how long will I continue? And until an age of 35 or at max 40, I will be saturated after that. I would no longer want to go to work and spend entire day. And I had this question always, and in after for COVID it grew, and after for COVID only I started looking for freelance projects, but it was difficult at that time. I couldn't find anything, and one fine day since I was working at that time, and I decided to just leave because I can't do it anymore. It was so frustrating. I literally used to cry before starting for work, and I didn't want to do that for me. So I left, and I calculated the amount of money which I will have after the full and final settlement. It would be enough for me to go for 1.5 months or 2 months, and it will give me enough of a time to think what I have to do. And I decided and quit. So after I was anyways looking for the freelance projects on LinkedIn and all the platforms, freelance projects, or if any good opportunity where work from home or freedom to work is there. While looking for this, I got a project from LinkedIn only. It was an art project, and it was from an art gallery from Ohio, US. So the guy was the owner of that gallery, and he was looking for someone to make a series of mural paintings based on the Sheba, the Queen of Sheba. It's a historical painting, and it was like a series of 14 paintings. And he was paying me good, so I took the project and we started. So I was like, my expenses for the next 3 months are set. I can, and but this money can support my publishing also. So
Yeah.
this was the project which supported my uh, book publishing expenses and everything. And it continued for 4 months. And meanwhile, I was also looking for freelance projects. So the painting project is going on. Some small freelance projects are going on, and the publishing is also going on. And
So the
after
other freelance projects are the writing projects, or were they
the
also
other
painting?
freelance were designing projects. Since I am a graduate of textile for design and experience of 12 years before I quit my job, so I have connections and network in the industry, retail and uh, apparel and retail industry. So I never say no to any work. So yeah, and after that everything was shaping up so well. So I learned, that oh, you You are only required to take one step, one decision, and rest everything will be done. You start walking on the way, and the way will appear. This was what I lived, I experienced. I left it having nothing, and I had everything after that. Whatever I wanted to do, I did everything on my own. So yeah, and from there the freelancing was continued.
You know, Neha, your journey is like the true journey of being your own boss. I mean, you decided one day and you are your own boss now, right? And this is the essence of it here. Like being an entrepreneur, like you're not a business. You are not you're not employing anyone, or at least let's say not yet. Okay, but um, you're freelancing, and these are the things that you're doing to put food on your table. But other than this, there are things that you do to give back to the society. Let's talk about that part here, because there is another aspect, there is another chapter to this whole thing, the NGO.
Yes, so in 2022 July, I did Vipassana. A friend of mine recommended that you go to Vipassana. And anyways, I was very much inclined into spirituality since COVID. The difference what it made to me changed me as a complete individual, and it gave me such a clarity which I was looking throughout my life. I always wanted, somewhere, whenever anyone used to ask me that what's your long term plan, long time goal, and I used to say that I want to build a women community, and I didn't know what, no idea of what community. But after Vipassana, this clarity came, as like I realized, I felt that this is the purpose of my life, which for which I am here, and I have to build this, I have to do it. And it somehow came into me like it's my responsibility to do. And I one fine day I was sleeping. I had came back from my hometown a week before, and every time I go my hometown, the same question: why women have such a life? So everything was going on in my head, and I was sleeping. One fine day at 1 o'clock, I got up and I was crying. I don't know why I'm crying. I was crying very bad, very bad. And at that time, this name came into me, Her World. I want to build Her World. And that night, I don't know what happened, but this happened that from the next day I started working on this. I started visualizing what I would do in her world, how I would do, how I would help these people, women. Would I be spreading awareness? Still, the clarity is not there that what it will be. I just have this clarity that I have to build something to help domestic violence victim. And after that, I was watching this series in Netflix called Maid. So it's a series based on a domestic violence survivor who has struggled a lot, and later on she became a writer, and she had a daughter also. So it's a story of some, I think, US somewhere. So they have this system, government system, which provide accommodation, employment, your child's accommodation, everything. You stay there, you work with different companies. It's like your own hostel where you stay. So this was the support that government is providing, legal support, where they would appoint lawyers for you to fight your case and everything. So this question came into me. We don't have this system in our country, and the clarity came from there that the entire structure what I wanted to create. So yeah, from that I started working on this concept of how the organization will work. How will I be supporting and nurturing all those women's, giving them shelter? Started working. So the vision is, these things are deeply rooted in our society, starting from middle class, upper class, higher class, luxury class, whichever class you go. But people do not talk about it. Still uh, it exists in our society in metropolitan still people are becoming vocal and talking about it, but in rural areas or the middle class societies still they, it's like a normal culture which they have accepted,
Yeah.
how
It is.
women are asked to live, how they are asked to adjust, how they are asked to tolerate just because they are women. So the organization is basically the bridge between her foundations and freedom. When I say bridge, it's why women do not choose to leave, irrespective of the fact that the living condition is very poor for her. She knows herself, still she do not choose to quit. Why? But there are several reasons.
Is it mainly because, I mean, like you said, yes, there are several reasons, but financial independence is one big reason, right? If the woman is financially independent, she can walk out.
Yes, exactly. The number one is the financial dependency. They are completely dependent on their partners, and if they decide to leave, where will they go? They have no money or anything to support herself or her kid. Number two is their kids' responsibility. Who will look after them, their education, the expenses? Number three, societal pressure. The pressure from families and friends, like the victim blaming, like if this is happening to you, it's happening because of you. You are unable to handle your husband, you are unable to handle the situation, and it's made to believe that everything is normal. This is how the women are supposed to live, but that is why they never talk it out, or the women, they never raise their voice. So, what if we give them the lacking points? What if we give them shelter? If you want to live, come to us, stay with us. What if we give them an opportunity to earn money? Women's best protection is a little money of her own. So we have planned everything in a practical way, how we will tie up with the companies and small uh, houses. I mean, starting from women of all race, educated till uneducated, we have a system to provide employment to all of them, and we have a system to take care of the kids for their education, the legal assistance, the medical assistance, and mental well-being. So all of this will be under one campus where women can stay. There will be, of course, a tenure for them from 3 months to 1 year, but they can't stay forever. But during those period, we will build her up in a way that she'll be ready to go out in the world by herself.
Right.
So
So you give them a start, that you give them that kick.
we bridge the gap.
Yeah. Brilliant work, Neha. Very, very well thought. Very, well organized. I think this is fantastic, and I am wishing you all the best for this, for this NGO.
Thank you so
And it's
much.
called Her World, right? It's called
Called
Her
Her
World.
Welfare Foundation.
If you're now, like, if I give you the next 30 seconds or 60 seconds, this platform, talk to the women who are watching this video, the ones who are struggling. Let's say they are going through domestic violence. What's your message for them?
The message is only that if you are going through any kind of trauma, your biggest enemy is your silence. Break the silence, and you you are capable of doing everything on your own. You have the strength and power to regain the control of your life, but do not let it go like that. It's your life. Live it. Break the silence.
Break the silence. That's the message. I really appreciate that, because this is very, very important. Breaking the silence and speaking up, speak up, and take that step forward. Now, looking at the way things are going on in your life, you've got the work, you've got some freelance work that you're doing, and you do your writing work, you do painting work. An entrepreneur's life is stressful, right? There is a lot of stress involved. There's a lot of, because there is, you have to juggle a lot of things here. So with all this stress, what's your way of rejuvenating yourself? What's your way of recharging your battery? Because it is important for an entrepreneur to take a break, right? As an employee, you get your weekends, Saturday, Sundays, but an entrepreneur, that's not the case. Can you tell us, how do you recharge your battery?
No, being an entrepreneur, it has a different aspect too. When you are working on by your own self, there is uncertainty. You don't know the next month you will be having money, then or not, whether you will be having projects or not. But while you are working on salary, at least you have this certainty. So this is another stress. Another is like you have to handle a lot of things by yourself. You have to be from the helper to the boss, all the roles throughout the day. So I start my day with a good. I get up at 6 o'clock. Before the sunrise, I try and watch the rising sun, sip a coffee, get freshen up, and go to gym. And after the gym, I come back at 10 o'clock and start my day working, and in between sometimes I do the gardening with my plants, and sometimes I write, sometimes I listen to music, because our lives are confined to a flat. We are hardly meeting people or having a social life because you're so busy, you don't have time for yourself. How will you meet people? So this life is very much confined, so I try to go out for a walk, uh, to buy groceries, vegetables,
Hmm.
however I can do. I do it by myself rather online, and yeah, this is my daily life.
Good. Neha, for the people who, among the listeners who would like to reach out to you for either your, to give you some writing projects, or who like to, you to paint for them, like I got this painting done from you. What's the best way to reach out to you?
I am very much reachable on to Instagram. The handle is author underscore OVD, which is my own page. And if anybody would want to read out what I write, the poetries, you can go to one dot vulnerable vulnerable dot dot one vulnerable dot. So yeah, these are two pages you can go.
That's nice. One dot vulnerable dot dot. and and author underscore OVV, one vulnerable dot, right? So brilliant. We'll include that in the show notes, and so that people can reach out to you. For YouTube, in the description below, we'll mention the ways that you can connect with Neha. Neha, how was your experience being on the Be Your Own Boss podcast?
Lovely. I am so glad that I got this opportunity to speak today here with you and at this platform, which I have been admiring since so many months. And I'm really glad to have this opportunity to speak today. And especially with
Thank you
you,
so
you have
much.
been a great mentor to me. You are a, a very important person in my life. You supported me at that time when I really needed a help, and your one help helped me to build so many things and to handle that situation. And I have always seen you as a mentor, and I'm glad that I have this platform today.
Thank you, Neha. And now I just did whatever I could, and and this was, it was a tough time, and we were all there to support each other. So whatever I could,
Yeah.
and yeah, Neha, thank you so much for taking our time and sharing your journey with us, sharing your story with us. It was a wonderful conversation. Thanks for coming on the show.
Same here, sir. It was really a pleasure to be here today. Thank you so much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that was Neha Sahu, the author of One Vulnerable Dot, and You've been watching and listening to Your Own Boss.